You want me to play? You want me to go down your red carpet and be your fucking Barbie doll? Be your fucking Barbie doll. You want to play? Let's go.
Hi, this is Mary H.K. Choi. Today we're sitting down with filmmaker Rose McGowan in this episode of Broadly Meets. Rose McGowan was the raven-haired, plump-lipped ingenue that became Hollywood's it girl in the late 90s. She came to notoriety for her seductive pinup girl looks, salacious romance with Marilyn Manson, and risque media stunts that landed her the title of both sex symbol and wild child. The actress had an atypical upbringing. Born into a sect of the Children of God cult headed up by her father, that enforced a mixture of ideologies from free love to the second coming of Christ. But at the age of 15, she officially emancipated herself from her parents and pursued an acting career. She has appeared in acclaimed films by Brian De Palma, Robert Rodriguez, and Quentin Tarantino, with cult hits like Jawbreaker, Scream, and Planet Terror. But after a near-fatal car accident in 2007, Rose took a hiatus from Hollywood. Now she's back in the role of director, and she's putting the movie industry on blast, calling out the rampant sexism she experienced as an actress. And as you can see, she pulls no punches. So you don't identify as an actor anymore?
I never really did.
When did you get there? Like 2 years ago when you sort of like decided?
I'd say about 2 years ago, yeah. I got hurt on Planet Terror and then was paralyzed in my right arm from an accident and spent a year in that. And while I was in that, got a car accident that cut my face open. And so I took a lot of time out of Hollywood to go and deal with that. And the power went out in my house. And I had a long night of thinking. And I was like, oh my God, I hate acting. Oh my God, I've always hated acting. But not the act of acting, per se.
The films.
I was just in the wrong job. It's not dramatic. And I happen to be good at that job. And maybe I'll do it again. I don't know. It's just not. And people are like, but you're so good, you have to do it. No, I don't. And just because it's everybody else's dream doesn't mean it has to be mine.
What made you come back to Hollywood?
I just, it's on my terms and it's different. And I know and I understand it more. I was a kid that was thrown into the wilderness. And then, I turned into a girl with breasts and then it was very loud. And then all of a sudden I got famous and people running after you. And you're like, what the fuck? Whoa.
Do you feel more empowered now as a director to sort of confront some of the gnarlier and grosser aspects of Hollywood?
I mean, there are gnarly and gross things about Hollywood that, that I've experienced that rise to the level of criminality. Like stuff that would curl your hair. It's not just sexism in Hollywood. It's not talking about that because a lot of times when you say that word, people just kind of tune out because it's been beaten over people's heads so much. But it's more about the positive side, which is being progressive.
Right.
It's a really... there's a lot of beauty here. There's a lot of great stuff in Los Angeles. There's a lot of artistry here. And I just want it to rise to the top. And more than that consciousness, I just want people to shine a light for the next person who's coming in the dark. Because I had nobody shining a light for me.
Going back to your thing of being hypersexualized from a young age.
Very young age.
I remember the VMAs and the red carpet, you and Marilyn Manson. Well, that was an incredibly sort of galvanizing moment in terms of you being the alt babe that got dudes hard, but they were sort of scared also.
I specialize in scaring.
Yeah, totally.
I scare because I care.
But how do you feel when you look back at that moment?
Well, they tried to shame me a lot, certainly in media, worldwide. The next day I was like, oh, isn't that funny? But it was, to me, just a prank. I didn't understand the concept of things living on forever, but I'm also not ashamed. And I've had people on Twitter well, how can you bring up sexism if you wear this? Because I fucking can, you fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Because if I fucking want to wear nothing, it's my goddamn choice. So don't you fucking push it on me.
You recently came under fire for the Adam Sandler casting call.
I don't think I came under fire. I think he came under fire.
I mean, but a lot of people were just whoa.
Whoa, you wore this dress.
Man.
Be cool. I'm like, shut up. I don't have to be cool. I don't have to fucking be anything. I can be whatever I want to be. Suck it.
Can you talk about what that was?
Well, the Adam Sandler tweet was, again, it was just something funny coming from a casting office that somehow the script made its way to me and through my then agency. And it had this ridiculous cover letter.
What did it say?
It encouraged tight clothes and show cleavage, parentheses, push-up bras encouraged, and tight pants. And you're like, so I tweeted it, and it was just so inane. And then, a week later, I got fired by my agency for it. But it was really my thought of how many hands this passed through to get to me.
Right.
And probably a girl had to type it up, and that felt normal for her to do.
Right.
And that's the part that made me come on, man.
Right.
Come on. And Adam Sandler had nothing to do with it, except for his whole oof. but
right, his entire work,
his entire body work.
Yeah, totally.
But you know, and it's not about attacking him. It's about attacking the idea that that's okay. You know, I read the magazines like Variety and Hollywood Reporter and things, and the language is so archaic. You know, describing a woman who made $1 billion for Disney, like, she wears a tight pencil skirt and a button-down shirt walking into the meeting. I'm like, really? So the next interview on the next page with so-and-so guy, studio head, are you like, his trousers were perfectly tailored. No, it's just stupid little things like that, but it like, reaffirms the stuff constantly that it just sticks people in a different century, and we're supposed to be at the forefront.
So, yeah, you're a director now.
I'm a director now, and I've been attempting to direct people forever. They just wouldn't listen, but now they actually have to. No.
So are you drunk with power now? Does it feel amazing, though? It's just gratifying?
Well, it's not just gratifying. It's more that I have something to apply my brain to. Oh. Whereas acting
there was no shaped problem for you to, like...
There's nothing to solve. There's stamina and emotion.
And obedience.
But, you know, I'm a professional, and I work my ass off, and I committed to doing things, and so I would do them to the best of my ability. I would never phone it in, but it is emotion and stamina and not necessarily an intellectual problem-solving situation. Because when you're positioned kind of as a sex symbol, which I suppose, had a part of, because you're part of, that's how you advertise for movies, don't you know?
Right.
You cock your hip out and put your arm back.
Totally.
But you can lose your brain in that.
So, in terms of like being a director and coming from the standpoint of having been an actor for so long, what did you want your actors to experience on your set?
That's a really great way to look at it. I wanted them to experience respect.
Okay.
I wanted them to experience, obviously, going and helping me create a world. The actors are phenomenal, and it's like one of the things that helps me, you know, I don't direct just by, you know, we'd never like give a line reading, say the line like this, but I can say, you know, your body language and your expression here is maybe something like that. And the gift of me having been a performer is that I can translate a lot through body language and facial expression of what I want the overall tone to be. So it's a shortcut, and it's a great way to be able to speak to actors, I think. Right. You know, I feel like I'm the captain of a ship, and I'm a good sailor, and
do
I know
you
what
have
I'm
any
doing.
apprehension about it?
No.
Really? Do you think that's...
Acting was actually always stressful for me. My heart would race, and I would get like sick feeling. But my first day as a director was peaceful.
So, in terms of like Dawn, you directed a 17-minute short, and it's based in 1961. Tell us about it. So
Dawn is really just about a young girl, you know, in 1961, who's trying to make her way out of a cocoon, you know, society's cocoon, a maternal cocoon, what she's supposed to be, what she's supposed to do. And then what happens when maybe you meet an opposing force that's in diametric opposition to what your life interests are, which is maybe staying alive.
Come on. It's easier if you come with me now.
Where?
Obviously, you picked a very deliberate time period. There's something about 1961 that still has all that sort of baggage and holdover stuff from the 50s. What about that is so captivating for you?
You know, I mean, I think women went through so much in the 60s. You look at the early 60s, which is post-war, and this, again, idea of what feminine perfection was and is, which is always kind of held over with each decade. But then later in the 60s, you know, it turns into the sexual revolution, and you're not cool unless you're sleeping with all the guys. But meanwhile, you've been programmed to please men. So it's this kind of funky dichotomy for women in that age group. And my mom would have been, you know, younger than Dawn, but her mom was a pretty hardcore kind of 50s mom. And I saw a lot of my mother in this. And then my mom turned into a hippie, you know, and then the whole experience. But I was always fascinated by what about that programming led to life decisions.
You had a very specific, unorthodox upbringing in childhood, and you're drawing upon all of these different things. Like, how does all of that inform directing as a job? It
informed like kind of everything. Having an unorthodox, I've studied people from the outside. I didn't grow up integrated with other people. I grew up in a really cloistered world in a commune. My father was a cult leader. He ran something called Children of God, the Italian chapter.
Right.
I was born to that. This is what I know. It'd be as much as somebody being born to a banker and understanding how finances work. I understand what it's like to take big groups of humans and get them to go on a journey with you more than anything. Not do what you want. It's like, come with me. We got this. We can do this. And now I just want to bring that to a broader and bigger level in kind of everything that I do, you know.
Do you do drugs? Because like
I
sometimes,
smoke weed.
Because
Well, I don't
sometimes
smoke it.
talking
I
to you
drink
is
a
like,
tea.
well, I was gonna say like sometimes talking to you is like doing shrooms or something.
I've had a lot of time to think. I had 15 years of silence.
Do you want to commit the rest of your like Hollywood life to directing?
As opposed to acting?
As opposed to, I don't know, being a studio head or like something.
I know I could do that too, but I would rather actually become the governor of California because we have some serious problems that need to be addressed.
Dude. Yeah.
10 years, that's my plan. And again, it's about assembling an army because we're right. And we can do this,
Fuck yeah.
you know?